Some people dream of renovating their homes, but the reality can be far more complicated. Between the costs, permits, and technical challenges, many give up before they even start. But one man named Wayne Martin wasn't like most. Wayne decided to take on one of the boldest backyard construction projects anyone had seen. When he began digging a massive hole in his yard, neighbors thought he had lost his mind. That changed once they saw the final result. Their skepticism quickly turned to envy. The project began with Wayne buying a 20-foot shipping container online. While it might sound expensive, these containers are often discarded and sold at low prices. For budget-conscious builders, it's a great find. And for Wayne, this container would be the core of his entire plan. First, Wayne sealed off one end of the container and installed a front door on the other, creating the only entrance. With the container prepped, he dug a large hole in his backyard. He made sure the hole was at least 2 feet deeper than the container's height to allow room for stairs. Then he poured a 6-inch layer of gravel at the bottom to create a solid foundation. Because of its size, Wayne hired a septic company to use their crane and lower the container into the hole. He also left 2 feet of space on all sides to allow room for future work around the container. Next, Wayne installed a sump pump to prevent future water damage, just like those used in basements. He wasn't about to let his efforts be ruined by flooding. Then, he built concrete steps leading down to the container's door. It wasn't flashy, but it was clearly functional, and Wayne was far from done. 2 I-beams were installed across the top of the container, level with the stairs, creating a base for the structure's roof. Safety and support were key. Using a jackhammer, Wayne built a framework for the roof and added sheets of corrugated metal, strong enough to hold a person's weight. To prevent accidents, he reinforced the structure to make sure no one could fall through from above. With the foundation and roof coming together, Wayne left an opening above the stairs and used rebar to strengthen the entryway. Things were finally starting to take shape. It was impressive how much he had done on his own. To make the entrance more secure, Wayne placed cinder blocks around the rebar and filled them with cement. He also raised the entry above the container's top to protect it from rain and weather. This wasn't just about function, it was about durability. As the project neared completion, Wayne added 2 12-inch air vents, one at the front and one at the back of the container, to allow fresh air to flow inside. He also installed PVC pipes, anticipating future utility hookups. Clearly, he was thinking ahead. Then it was time to pour concrete. A 6-inch layer was spread over the corrugated metal roofing and around the rebar at the entryway. Once it dried, Wayne added another layer of cinder blocks to further strengthen the entrance. No detail was overlooked. After the concrete had fully cured, Wayne removed the temporary supports beneath the roof and tested its strength. From a deep hole in the yard to a solid underground structure, the transformation was remarkable. By now, it was clear. Wayne had built his very own underground bunker, but instead of storing emergency supplies or high-tech gear, he filled it with bottles of wine and liquor. What looked like a disaster shelter had become a unique and creative wine cellar. Another view of the interior showed that, while it was basic, the space was clean and well organized. It could easily serve as a secure place in case of a natural disaster, or just a quiet retreat. With shelves lined with bottles, it was clear Wayne's priorities were in order. Shipping containers are designed for stacking, which means their structural strength lies in the corners. Anyone planning a similar build would need to reinforce the walls and roof properly to avoid collapse. Wayne clearly understood this and took no shortcuts. Though shipping containers are popular for DIY bunkers, some people use other materials like cinder blocks to create similar underground shelters. No matter the method, Wayne's project stood out for its creativity, care, and execution. As Wayne's project came to an end, the results spoke for themselves. What began as a hole in the ground had turned into a fully functional underground space, secure, practical, and surprisingly stylish. The stairs led down to a sturdy door, framed by concrete and cinder blocks, giving the entrance a polished, well-constructed appearance. The structure blended seamlessly with its surroundings, and most wouldn't guess there was a hidden room below. Wayne had not only created a personal retreat, but also a conversation piece that made his neighbors stare in disbelief, and maybe even a little jealousy. With ventilation in place, reinforced roofing, and a dry, stable foundation, the bunker was built to last. Though it wasn't luxurious, it served its purpose well. For Wayne, it wasn't about fancy finishes. It was about utility, durability, and a bit of creative flair. Inside, the wine and liquor lined the shelves, a clear signal that this was no ordinary storm shelter. Wayne had found a clever way to store his collection and enjoy a unique personal space. For some, it might be a panic room or emergency shelter. For Wayne, it was a wine bunker. Looking at the final result, it was hard to believe one man completed it all. His planning, precision, and persistence paid off. He had thought of everything, from airflow to drainage, from stair access to structural integrity. There were no signs of cutting corners. Underground bunkers often conjure images from science fiction, massive shelters built to withstand global catastrophes. In reality, most are far smaller, simpler, and meant only to provide basic protection or storage. Wayne's bunker fell into that category, yet it still stood out for its quality and execution. Some people build similar shelters using different materials, like concrete or cinder blocks, depending on budget and access to resources. Wayne simply chose a shipping container and made it work with style. The end result? A fully functioning, hidden space beneath the backyard. Whether used for storage, safety, or sipping wine in peace, Wayne's underground bunker was a testament to what can be accomplished with determination and a clear vision. So, when can we move in?